Good morning. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. We will continue with today's lecture, this period, from where we left in the last period. In the last period, we were making an attempt to understand what is the general framework of references, wherein we have looked at the inertial frame of reference and body-centered coordinate system, basically to derive an equation of motion of a free body in space. We made an attempt of deriving this equation for an aircraft in space, so that these governing equation, which are essentially three force equation, three moment equation, which would be appropriately looked at with an appropriate assumption and can be deduced to a ground vehicle, and the necessary equation of motion to handle handling study of our vehicle dynamics part of the course is what we were trying to solve. In that, we were just to have started with the understanding of what do you mean by inertial frame of reference, what do you mean by body center coordinate frame, and so on. And we have looked at the advantage of representing with respect to the body-centered coordinate frame, two motion parameters. One is the linear velocity of center of mass of the body. Another one is the angular velocity of the moving body. So if they are looked at in the moving frame of reference, dynamic study become more appealing because from the initial frame of reference, it would be more comfortable if you are only interested to look at or trace the path of your rigid body, then it is appropriate. Whereas to get into detailed dynamic study, wherein I am interested to know what are the forces and moments that are responsible for the motion, it is preferred that you look at motion parameters, essentially the velocities in the body-centered coordinate system, because they are involving the momentum principle. And we know the force is defined as rate of change of linear momentum, and moment is defined as rate of change of angular momentum. And we have derived equation up to equation number 12. So 11 and 12 essentially is what is the starting point of today's period's class. So that at the end of the class, we will have those equations of motion, and then we will see how can we reduce to the ground vehicle the required equation of motion to study lateral dynamic aspects of the vehicle. So with that note, let me just share my screen. Hope you are able to see the screen. So we will make an attempt to do this derivation of Newton-Euler equations of motion. So we were doing in the morning period these 12 equations. So I'm going to continue with that. So let me write for the purpose of continuing with that, a general kinematic consideration of a vector which is fixed in the body centered or body fixed coordinate frame, right? So that's what I'm going to look at from this lecture. So let's look at a general kinematic consideration of a vector A. So this vector can be velocity vector, linear velocity vector. This vector can be angular velocity vector. This vector can be any vector, force vector, moment vector, like that. If I have a vector attached to a body fixed coordinate frame, right? So general kinematic consideration of a vector A attached with body fixed coordinate frame. If I have, then the derivative of this vector being from inertial frame of reference, or absolute quantity of this derivative of this vector dA by dt can be now written as dou A by dou t, where this term is called a relative term. Let's look at what is that in a while. Plus the effect of rotation of the body on this vector. So that would be given by a cross product omega cross A vector. So your absolute derivative of this vector which is attached to the body fixed coordinate frame, its time derivative would be given by these two terms on the right hand side. So let's call this equation as equation number 13. And what is this term, relative term refers to? So this term says is what an observer in the moving frame would think the change in this vector A. So this would be the term, this term is what an observer in the moving reference would think the change in vector A would be change and vector A would be. So it's clear. So if this is a velocity vector that I am going to consider here, then what would happen? So what is the change in this linear velocity, capital U, capital V and capital W? Being a pilot of the aircraft would feel the changes would be. That's what is given by this relative term. But this is not an absolute variation of my velocity, if A happens to be my velocity vector. So I should also consider what would be the rotational effect of my rigid body, where this body fixed coordinate frame is fixed, would have it on my velocity vector. So this is what is important. So this equation is going to help us to derive my Newton-Euler equation now. So here, how do you quantify this term omega cross A? It's simple. This cross product can be obtained by a determinant value, where the first row is ijk unit vectors of the axis set in body fixed coordinate frame. And the second vector is omega, so we have defined that as p, q, r. And A vector is going to have ax, ay, az. So this determinant would give me what is omega cross A. Right, so it is simple that I would have I into q a z minus r a y, I into q a z minus r a y minus j into p a z minus r a x plus k into p a y minus QAX. So this is what is essentially my omega cross A term. Right? So if you have understood that, now I can simply get this like this. So this is my equation. So what is this first term? How do you get this first term? It's simple derivative. So dou A by dou T relative term would be simply ax dot ay dot az dot. I write that as a vector, column vector. So let's call this as equation number 14, this is equation number 15, so that now 13 equation would become sum of these two, 14 plus 15. So what is my absolute derivative of this vector, dA by dt? So that would be first term plus the second term. So I would have first term here is ax dot. So ax dot plus first term in this. So ijk. So what is the term here? I is QAZ. So QAZ minus RAY. And second term is AY dot. And I want to write as a plus here. So this minus, I take it inside. So it's going to be RAX minus PAZ. And then AZ dot plus third term PAY minus QAX. So this is my vector. So this vector would be my derivative of a general equation that's fixed with the body fixed coordinate frame. So if we have understood this simple kinematic consideration, then I can find now my force vector and moment vector from a basic principle of dynamics. So what is basic principle of dynamics? That is, my force vector is dP by dt, where P is mv, we have said. So m is constant, let me take that out. So this is going to be dV by dt. So what is my expression going to be? M into, I will have dou V by dou T, relative term, plus omega cross B vector. So what is my force vector then? If I look at equation 16, I can straight away write my force expression or force vector as Fx, Fy, and Fz, the three components as follows. So that would be equal to, so it is mass times, so mass outside, like here I have. So these two terms, sum will be similar to this. So Ax dot is going to become here u dot, because velocity vector, you know, u, v, w, right? So u dot plus q into w. In place of A, Z, you have this. So what is my v vector? It is u, v, w. So that takes place of x, y, z, just the same way. So this is going to be qw minus rv. And I will have here v dot plus, looking at this equation 16, ru minus pw, and w dot plus, looking at this third element, pv minus qu is what is my force equation. So this is equation number 17. This is my force equation. So now what is my moment equation? Moment equation, I can rewrite like this. Similar way, my moment vector would be d of angular, rate of change of angular momentum. So this is going to be hc by dt. But hc is now is not something easier like a mass. So it is just now we looked at, it is going to be involving a tensor product, tensor and vector product. So how is it going to be now? So this is going to be equal to dou hc by dou t plus omega cross hc, right? So this is relative term. So now what is my hc? So I will have my hc here as three components. So that's going to be hx, hy, hz. And the three component is what is going to be IC, which is a matrix, with the omega, which is a vector. So this is 3 by 3 matrix and this is 3 by 1 vector. So I'll get 3 by 1. which is my vector. So this rate I should take. This HC is what I should substitute here, and this HC is what I should substitute here. So let's get what is this going to be. So I have IC is the already matrix defined. Here you could see that. This is IC equation 9. I have my diagonal terms are mass, moment of inertia, off diagonal terms are product of inertia. So if I have understood that, I would have now here this product, this vector is going to be, now see I will have about 3 by 1. So that 3 by 1 is going to be Ixx into P. So here I have PQR vector, and here I have this matrix. So it is this by this. So I will have Ixxp plus Ixyq plus Ixzr. This is my first term. Second term is Iyxp plus Iyyq plus Iyzr. Third term would be Izxp plus Izxq plus Izz into R. So this is vector 3 by 1 vector. So this is my Hx, Hy and Hz. So this is what I should substitute now here. So its derivative is going to be simple. So I will have my first term. So if I look at again this equation compared to that general kinematic consideration of any vector A that we have considered, I would have my moment vector now is given by mx, my, m is 3 equations, and that would be first term of this would be on this would be what? Rho hc by rho t would be simply Ixx p dot plus Ixy q dot plus Ixz r dot, and this is going to be Iyx p dot plus Iyq dot plus Yz r dot, and this is going to be Izx p dot plus Izx q dot plus Izz r dot. So this my first term plus this. So this should be what look at here. I have to accordingly write. So I have to just look at this equation 16, and I can write Q into Az. So Az is what is my third element in this. This Hz. So Q into Hz minus R into Hy. So that I should just substitute, right? So here it is going to be here it's going to be Q into see this is that I have to write, right? So this is the term I have to write. Just a minute. I just have to attend this call. Hello. So let's continue with this. So here we have now see this this term I should write. This term is what? Now see first term is written. So first term is like u dot v dot w dot is written. Now I have to write this. So that would be, I just write, you just observe. If you do not follow, let me clarify again. So that would be here q into Hz. Hz is this term. So q into Hz, that is Izx p plus Izx q plus Izz r minus R into IYX, the second term, P plus IYY Q plus IYZ R. Right? Then the second term here is R into, what is that is going to be? IXXP plus IXY Q plus IXZ R minus P into IZX P plus IZX Q plus IZZ R. Right? And the third term is P into, so see here Q or P, that order would be followed. And you can see that it's going to be HY, so that's going to be IYXP plus IYYQ plus IYZR minus Q into HX. So that is IXX P plus IXYQ plus IXZ R. So see 1, 2, 3. So this is that term. So you would have your equation. Mx would be this term plus this term. Then My would be this term plus this term. Mz would be this term plus this term. So you see it's very lengthy expression, but you can have this complex lengthy equation can be reduced with some important assumption. So let's call this equation is number 19. So now equation 19 and equation 17 what we have are called Newton-Euler equation. So equations 17 and 19 are Newton-Euler equations of motion of a body in space, which would have essentially 6 degrees of freedom. So you have these 6 equations. So having these equations of motion, you would be able to have an appropriate control strategies, strategical study to have its motion study to proceed. So now these equations can be simplified way looked at. So how do you simplified way look at it? So if I make this airplane now considered in our derivation, you see that is symmetric about the XZ plane. So this entire thing is symmetric about the XZ plane. Then I would have my product of inertia terms in the, I would have my product of inertia terms in the where is that? Scroll bar, yeah. So product of inertia terms in this disappears, right? I would have here in this matrix, the product of inertia IXY, IYZ terms are 0, and since it is symmetry matrix, these elements are 0. So my equation would be reduced, simplified by this way. So let us have case number 1. Yeah.
Sir, in equation 19, it is the third row. It is IZY, sir.
IZY. Where? Third row.
Third row. IZY Q dot.
IZY. 1 minute. Just let me just look at it. This one, right? 1 minute. You are saying here this one, right?
Yes, sir.
So that is going to be IZX P dot plus IZY. This is IZY, I'm sorry. This is IZY Q dot, IZ is at R dot, right?
Sir, and similarly in that after this plus part also, sir, here in the first row. Here in the first row, sir.
This row?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah. IZY. This is IZY, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, correct, correct. Thank you. See, why did I make that mistake is because of uh, writing down this here. I was just looking at and writing this equation. So this is IZY, right? This is IZY. So since I have put here IZX, I was just looking at and writing this equation. So that's I was just doing it unconsciously, right? Yeah. So now, anyhow, this equation can be just once you sit down and write, you would feel, it's simple. And now let us have different cases and how are we going to deduce this six equation for our convenience of handling the vehicle, right? So let us consider case one. So in case one, if XZ plane is symmetry. If XZ plane is symmetry, then you know that IXY, this product of inertia term, IXY equals IYZ equals. So IXY when I write it is IXY, YX also, and IZY also. So all equal to 0. So these four terms are going to be 0. So what would happen? Your HC, your angular momentum is simplified to IXXP plus IXZR. And here you will have only the mass moment of inertia term, IYYQ. And here you will have only IZXP plus IZZR. So you have only this, right? So if I have this appropriately, the other moment equation can be simplified. So you can look at now equation 19, and in equation 19, you would have many terms are disappearing. So what all this product of inertia terms are there here, those all will be removed. So that won't be appearing. So that the equation becomes simplified. So I leave it to you to get that. So that's the case one. So even this is a general irregular body equation that you consider for that matter of aircraft, which is symmetry about the XZ plane, that equations would be simplified, right? Simplified only for a moment equation. So now case 2. So what is my case 2 that I am going to consider for a ground vehicle? So let us take for case 2 for ground vehicle. So for a ground vehicle, what is important is, see this velocity vector, what you have seen, has got three components. What are those? U, V, W, right? So in this W is what is called, in case of an aircraft, called heave motion. That's called a heave motion. The same in a ground vehicle called bounce motion. So we know that vehicle can have bounce if I consider my vehicle complete details, like the entire rigid body mass I consider to be two masses, sprung and unsprung mass, and then I put a suspension, then I may have this motion witnessed. But for the simplicity of our handling study, I am not going to consider suspension for a moment. So if I do not consider vehicle suspension, what would happen? That the entire thing is going to be as one rigid mass, the total weight of my vehicle. So since the suspension is not there, the response bounce is not much witnessed. So I can consider that doesn't exist. That I can neglect the doesn't exist, I will not say. That can be neglected. And similarly, since the suspension is not there, there will be rotation about y-axis can also be neglected. That's what is called pitching. So these all can be neglected. So if I neglect this all, so what would happen? My 6 equations would become now simplified to 4 equations. Why? Because I do not require to consider this, and in this case, which is P, Q, R, I do not require Q. So pitching is what is Q here, and bounce is what is W component of linear velocity. This is Q is the Y component of angular velocity. So these two are neglected. So if I neglect these two, my 6 equations are reduced to only 4 equations. So that is 1 Fx equation is mass times U dot minus RB, and Fy is mass times V dot minus R plus RU, and Fz is not there because I neglect this bounds, so I do not consider any force equation in the vertical direction. So Fz is not there. Then Mx. So motion in vertical direction, motion about rotational motion about y-axis are neglected. That's the meaning. So when I consider that in force equation, Fz is not considered, not required, and in moment equation, My is not required. So my Mx is going to be Ixx P dot plus Ixy R dot. And my Mz is going to be Izx P dot plus Izz R dot. So these are my 4 equations required for ground vehicle. So ground vehicle used for stability analysis. So if I have these all equations, I can further bring this differential form of equation into an algebraic form or a convenient state space form. We are going to look at them so that those state matrices can be used, or the state space representation can be readily used for your response study as well as your stability analysis study. Control system design is quite easier. So this is what is going to be for a ground vehicle when I do not consider my bounce and pitching. So you can also see the vehicle here we only consider one symmetricity. What is it? X Z symmetricity. That is why, see, this is this equation is Ixz. This is not Ixy. Ixy is 0, right? So with the ground vehicle, this is with respect to Xz symmetry as well. Xz symmetry as well. So you have here, see, Izx term is there, but Ixy terms are not there here, right? That all are removed. So instead now, case 3, I consider my passenger car to have its XYZ axis or principal axis, right? The ground vehicle, especially passenger cars, can be assumed to have X, Y, Z axis as principal axis. So you know, principal axis are the one about which you would have only rotational mass moment of inertia. Product of inertias are 0. So in such case, you would have all this Ixy equal to Iy Z equal to Izx 0. So the other terms Iyx, by symmetricity of my I matrix, so those off diagonal terms all become 0. So I'll have only the diagonal terms where mass moment of inertias are only important, product of inertias and their effect on the dynamic condition or the motion of that can be neglected. So if that is so, these 4 equations are going to be reduced to 3 equations. So I will have my Fx, that is my tractive force, longitudinal force acting at the CG location of my vehicle is going to be equal to m, the same equation, into u dot minus rv, and then Fy equals m into v dot plus ru. So this is not v, this is u. And then here, look at here, ixx, xp. So here also the role can be neglected. Because of this principal axis, the role also is neglected. So the role is neglected means P is neglected. P is what? Role is neglected. Why role also is neglected? Because of this principal axis, right? So product of inertia terms are not going to be there. So you see that this equation mz alone is required, and that equation is going to be izz into r dot. So this p and this three terms are going off. So I would have my three equations required for a passenger car, considering the axis at the centroid location, center of gravity location, or the principal axis. There is no effect of product of inertia terms. So this is case 3. So we have two more cases now. So case 4. So case 4, what is that we look at is pure cornering. So what is the difference between pure cornering and lateral dynamic equation? There's three equations written and this equation. What is the main difference? So here you see the first equation is what is the Fx. So when we have Fx is nothing but ma dot. So that A vector is what is now given by this. What is this? Is u dot minus rv. This is r capital V, lateral velocity, rv. So this is what is my acceleration term. So now if I do not have an acceleration, that is what is called a pure cornering. So in pure cornering, I will not have either tractive force or braking force. So I would have some torque given, and then it would go with the cruising speed. So the speed only is going to be there, but the rate of change of that is going to be 0. So in such cases, I would not have my AX present. So for pure cornering, U is constant. U is constant. So you may have Fx is M or V, but what is that we consider here is in pure cornering, we will not have this equation required, right? So your equations are only two. One is Fy, that's M into V dot plus Ru, and M is at equal to Izz into R dot. So these are the two equations, right? These are the two equations. Any doubt at this point of time? So this is what is called a pure cornering, and you have next simplest case but most important case, because that itself is the important point of study to understand the vehicle tendency, the physics of your handling, that is steady state cornering. Steady state cornering. So for steady state cornering, you see that no parameters will be varying as function of time. That means you will not have R dot. What is R dot? It is yaw acceleration. R is yaw rate, yaw velocity. So you will not have yaw velocity varying as function of time. You will have yaw velocity, but yaw velocity varying as function of time will not have. So there is no moment equation. So you would have mz equals 0. and you will have your Fy. So here again V dot is what is lateral acceleration. So you will not have lateral acceleration here. So you would have only M or U. That is all. So these are the two equations required or sufficient for to have steady state cornering study. So in the last period, the beginning of the lecture, I was telling one of the most important vehicle handling parameter is what is called KUS, understeer gradient. So this understeer gradient, to define, you require steady state cornering motion of your vehicle. So that is sufficient, right? So understeer gradient is defined during an important operating condition, steady state cornering. That means there is no transient scenario, there is no variation of velocities. So this equation is sufficient to define what is your understeer gradient, and this is going to be a metric for vehicle handling parameter. This is going to be a metric for to compare vehicle handling characteristics of different vehicles. So in your digital assignment, you have 3 vehicles. So for 3 vehicles, you would have understeer gradient different, and that can be determined, which is important parameter for vehicle handling study, just considering steady state cornering condition, operating condition of your vehicle. So just having this one equation, Fy is equal to MRU, you are able to have a commenting, you are able to comment on your vehicle tendency and its handling capability. So which vehicle is more sporty vehicle, which vehicle is more safety vehicle, and so on, that you can conclude, right? So that is an advantage of having this. So see now, this fifth case is steady state cornering. Fy is equal to MRU, MZ is equal to 0. So you are required to understand this entire frame of general frame of framework, wherein we consider generic equation of motion for a rigid body in space, where there is no symmetricity, and then we have reduced that with the important assumption and real-time cases like symmetricity, principal axis, and steady state cornering, and so on. So these are various cases. So you should understand what state of your vehicle and what vehicle that you are doing it. So since we are handling only with the ground vehicle, so we would have case 4 and 5 in our study. Maybe you can also have case 3 whenever I have to account during cornering my acceleration, and during cornering if I brake. So this case 3, 4, 5 are applicable for our 2-axle vehicle handling study on ground. So for ground vehicle study, these are the fundamental equations of motion. But these equations of motions, how are they useful? Quite useful. That's what we are seeing it. So to get this metric understeer gradient, case 5 is sufficient. To get my safety or stability analysis, I require to look at pure cornering is sufficient. I do not even write to accelerate or brake, because from this case 4 itself, I could comment what would happen if I accelerate or brake to my vehicle tendency. So 4 and 5 are quite sufficient, and to more involved study of your handling, if you have to do, you should also account the variation in longitudinal direction, the force, and that would happen whenever you are varying your driving torque or braking torque. Otherwise, you can just not necessary to consider that equation, and you can consider only the pure cornering state, wherein you require 2 governing equation Fy and mz. So this is sufficient. So these two appears to be simple here, but these two equation can be represented in a convenient form of 2-degree freedom model, and that can be further used to study the physics of our vehicle. So with that note, let me stop today's lecture and let us look at actually steady state cornering and pure cornering study in the upcoming classes. And that would cover your module 3, and your module 4 also is lateral dynamic study, but it's more concentrating on stability. And module 5 is to look at your consideration of suspension into your vehicle, and that is all. So when you bring the suspension into your vehicle, you would have the effect of roll comes into picture, which is neglected here, and that would come into picture, and we would have accordingly response study as well as rollover stability analysis study. So we would have another 9 lectures also to complete these all modules, module 3, 4, 5. If 5 is not able to be completed, at least till module 4 we would be able to complete comfortably before your CAT 2 examination, and till there you have your digital assignment 2 progressed. With that, let me stop today's class, and if you have any doubts on these derivations or these assumptions, you may please ask. I would be happily answering, try to answer, clarify your doubts. Any doubts that you have? Any doubts? If there are no doubts,
sir.
yeah, I'll stop recording.